Hi, Delusion Dispeller here. I'm just going to make hopefully a short video because it has been brought to my attention that I might not be presenting Asperger's disorder or syndrome or whatever it's called. I think it's a syndrome in the right way. So I wanted to clear up some things. First, I wanted to talk to you about something real quick. If you have a gluten problem, that you're not celiac, but you have trouble with gluten, sourdough bread may be your key. Also, rye bread sometimes you might want to try. Just a little tip there for those of you that eat low gluten but not no gluten. Anyways, what I wanted to say to you is some facts about Asperger's disorder, or syndrome we'll say, versus narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, first of all, narcissists do not have any empathy at all, none whatsoever, which means you can be hurt, you can be sad, you can be angry, you can be upset with them, and they don't care. They have no capacity to care for you. The second thing is, a narcissist needs to put down other people in order to feel good about themselves. So if you come to a narcissist and tell them that you want a prize of some kind, they're likely to say, oh, well, I won this, or I won that, or I did this or that. Something to one-up you, basically. The third thing is, the narcissist has a love of that false self. In other words, they have put themselves in a position of being phony, and they want you to believe that that's who they really are, because they're never going to show you who they really are in the fullest capacity. If you start getting close to understanding who a narcissist is or what they are, they will start reacting with defense mechanisms, because they don't want you to dig down that deep. They don't even want to feel who they really are, because they're scared of it. They've stuffed it down so long that they're afraid as that starts coming to the surface and they start having these feelings of vulnerability. Now, that's a narcissist. A person with Asperger's can be kind at times. In fact, many of them are very kind people. They're also usually interested in learning how to interact to other people, or with other people, and react to other people. So a lot of times you'll find an Asperger person asking a lot of questions, studying about communication. They want to improve how they interact with people. They just can't seem to find the way to do that. They will often actually be able to train themselves to interact with other people in certain ways. They will learn kind of rehearsed responses to people. A narcissist wouldn't bother with any of that. They don't care if they react to you in a bad way. They just care that they get their narcissistic supply, which is you either adoring them or fearing them or hating them or giving them some sort of selfish attention that they want. The Asperger's person will often have trouble with eye contact, but that is not due to shame. Like a narcissist will often not look at you due to shame that they feel surfacing on the inside. An Asperger person has trouble with eye contact just simply because they do not understand or perceive human relations in the way that people without Asperger's would. They have trouble with touch and sensory issues. I actually have a few sensory issues myself, though I don't think I have Asperger's disorder or syndrome. I definitely have sensory issues. There are certain things I don't like touching because it just makes me feel squeamish, such as like very dry things. I don't like putting my hand on like a dry shovel and shoveling something. I don't like touching a chalkboard that's dry. I don't like touching the sidewalk if it's dry. It just gives me the shivers. I can't handle that type of sensory stimulation or whatever. Freaks me out. There's certain textures of foods I absolutely cannot handle. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I have Asperger's syndrome, but it does mean that I have sensory issues. Asperger people do have really severe sensory issues. Sometimes they can't stand to be hugged or touched, or a lot of times there's no romance in a marriage or a relationship with an Asperger's person because they just don't have the way to process those types of feelings and sensory stimulation. Asperger's, or people with Asperger's, have trouble with meta communication, which means they don't read between the lines. I have trouble with that too. I'm a very literal person, and a lot of times people get frustrated with me and they'll say, no, that's not what I meant. And I'll say, well, that's what you said. I'll take somebody at face value if they say something that's what they mean. And people with Asperger's do the same thing. If you want a good example of somebody with Asperger's syndrome, you can watch, what's it called? Oh, I always forget the name of this. Big Bang Theory. Sheldon has Asperger's syndrome. All right. The next thing is Asperger's people with Asperger's will often become stressed out with too much sensory input. If they're around crowds, they will just need to shut down and get away. Even if they're still sitting right there, they will mentally just zone out and you won't be able to communicate with them. They're often focused and very skilled at one particular thing. They may be computer geniuses or math pros. I mean, they can zero in on one thing and be extremely good at it and extremely talented, but then not so in other areas. You can discuss their situation with them and ask them to kind of come to a compromise or negotiate with you. You can say something like, I need you to blank in order for me to feel like you care about me. I need you to touch me more. I need you to hug me more. I need you to do what I ask you to do with taking the garbage out or whatever, so that I feel like you really want to contribute to this family. There's different ways you can ask them things, but the point is you can ask them. With a narcissist, it doesn't matter what you ask them. They're going to do what they want because they don't care about you or how their feelings and their actions and the things that they do affect you. Somebody with Asperger's needs routine. They need excessive space sometimes. They need to feel like they've achieved something. So they need success. They definitely have real emotion, genuine sorrow, but they have trouble being spontaneous. They don't automatically think, oh, well, I should go over to you and pat you on the back, or I should hug you and tell you I love you. That doesn't come natural to somebody with Asperger's disorder, which makes me sometimes wonder if my ex-husband might not have Asperger's disorder or syndrome instead of narcissistic, or maybe along with. I don't know if you can have both. I haven't studied that extensively to know. Maybe somebody out there knows the answer to that. A person with Asperger's often acts very mechanical or robotic. They seem programmed sometimes because they know that a certain action will result in this reaction, so they keep doing that action expecting that reaction. They don't tend to act on impulse to meet a need, like we just said. They don't walk up to somebody and hug them or say a kind word to them simply because they have a need for it. They train themselves often to act the way that somebody needs them to act, but it's not the same. It's hard to explain somebody with Asperger's disorder. Maybe somebody that has Asperger's could chime in here and make a video response or type in something extra that I can share. I know that Asperger people are very special. They see a world in a way that we don't see it. And it's very fascinating and interesting to learn about how the disorder affects the way they see things, because they see things that we miss a lot of times. Same thing with people that are hard of hearing or blind. I have two friends that are blind. Well, one just got her sight back because she had an operation, but the other one is still blind and may lose her eye. And it's fascinating to talk to her because she really does see the world in a very different way, from a different perspective than I do. And don't shun people because they're different. You know, get to know them. Now, if they're dangerous and toxic, yes, shun them with all your force and might and run from them. But if they're just, you know, hard of hearing or have trouble seeing or something like that, or just different, then don't, you know, cast them aside like they don't matter, because they have a right to be loved and valued and validated as well. And you might learn something by talking to different types of people. So that's all I had to tell you. My eating habits are pretty much the same. No cows, no pigs, no wild livestock or anything like that being eaten by me. I am still eating turkey and fish, although I may stop the turkey soon. I don't know. I have to decide that for myself. I do feel really good. Last night I had some artificial, what were they? Chicken nuggets, which means there was no chicken in them. They were all soy, but they were breaded, and I woke up stuffed up and congested today because of the breading. So today when I eat them, I will be pulling the breading off and just eating the insides and trying to avoid regular bread as much as possible in those kind of types of diet foods. Or, I'm sorry, foods. Not diet foods, but foods. So, yeah, that's about it. I've been eating a lot of salads, a lot of vegetables, and as you can see, it is beautiful out here today. Absolutely beautiful. It's kind of chilly, but I'd take chilly over cold and icy and frostbitten fingers and pain any day. So, I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for watching my videos and for your wonderful comments and for sharing your own videos with me and your questions and all those things that you share with me. I'm going to go back in the house now for a while and go work on my business, but I really appreciate each and every one of you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have a channel. So thank you so much. If you do need life coaching, please contact me at delusiondispeller@gmail.com. Have a wonderful and blessed day and weekend. God bless you for now, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.